I'm moving from the Indiana countryside to a small town that's also in Indiana. On social media, I see a lot of people say that moving to a big city in their 20s was the best thing they ever did, but I don't see many people pro living in a small town in your 20s. If I see any small town content, it tends to be pretty negative, but this video isn't going to be pinning big city life against small town living. Instead, I want to talk about why it's not a bad thing to stay in or move to a small town in your 20s.
I'm moving out in 22 days. I am getting married in 22 days. I've known the day I was going to move out for quite a while, so I've been packing up, I've been decluttering, and it's taking forever. I have some boxes piled up by the front door ready to go, but I just have so much stuff. For work tomorrow on Friday, I shouldn't have too much to do, so why don't I just pack up as much as I possibly can tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Luckily, I'm not doing like a crazy big move. I'm moving relatively close to where I live now, still Midwest Indiana. I wasn't allowed to have Tumblr, so, you know, Pinterest is where you would go. And I would always think about like what my 20s were gonna be like. And I found all of these like, they were Tumblr posts, but it was like concept. I'm gonna find some examples. You're working in a field you enjoy. You have supportive, loving friends. You follow your passions, you're fluent in your target languages. The 12 new books you ordered will arrive soon. Your flat is cozy, decorated with plants and fairy lights. You're happy. I want to move into a small apartment by myself in a new city, and I want to decide which furniture I want and what I want for dinner and whether or not to stay out all night.
When I was around 15 years old, I would imagine my life in my 20s. I always thought I'd move to a big city. Well, I thought I'd move a lot of places, but I remember really wanting to go to a college on the East Coast. And I knew early on I could have anything, but unfortunately I can't have everything. So junior and senior year of high school, I made a ton of pro-con lists. Turns out financial stability and staying out of unnecessary debt was really important to me. They still are. So I stayed home, took a gap year to work and save, and then I went to my local community college after I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I think if 15-year-old me could see my life now, she'd be surprised. Like, what do you mean I lived at home until I was 23? What do you mean I moved from the country to a small town? I think she'd be surprised, but not disappointed, because I put my own values before what other people were telling me to do.
Hi, hello, good morning. T-minus 21 days. It is Friday. This morning, I'm pretty sure I can like get the rest of my room done before I eat breakfast. That would be amazing. Some of the stuff in the room is going to stay. My sister's going to be moving into this bedroom. So I'm leaving the little flower tapestry. I'm leaving the vines, the shelves. Those things will stay. So I have like all my dishes and stuff, all my meal prep, a lot of teas. I'm all out of the moving boxes and tape. I have ordered an insane amount of stuff for the wedding, and I'm keeping all the boxes for moving, and I have a bunch of the packing stuff too. I didn't mean to, but I'm pretty sure I packed up all my belts. It is Saturday, T-minus 20 days. Oh my gosh. That's gonna have to work for today. Today is big move day. I've packed up what I can from my bedroom and from the kitchen, and now we are on to the office. The majority of the stuff in here is for the wedding. That's why it's just jam-packed full of stuff. So, I mean, relative to the amount of stuff there is in here, I'm not moving that much. I'm from Midwest Indiana and I'm moving to Midwest Indiana. And no one said this to me personally ever, because it is not like the majority of people's opinions, but I would say on social media, I get fed a lot of stuff from like 20-year-olds who move to the big city, a big city. And the general consensus from these people and from like people in their 30s are like, you need to move out of your small town and go to the big city. And it's okay to not do that. Where I'm moving, it's a small town. And I don't really feel like I'm missing out. I kind of. I think if I were to pack up and move just about anywhere, I think I'd love it. With the exception of going someplace that's colder. And there's no like one right or wrong way to go about where you live. But I hear a lot where people are like, oh, just move to a big city, have a lot of roommates, you know, live in a really small apartment, everyone's crammed together, but wow, the experience. And I'm like, the experience would suck for me personally. Connor also is going to be working from home. So it was really important to us that we would each have our own office. If we had to get like a studio apartment, of course we would have made it work, and I think it would have been fine. And we talked about that. And we were looking at homes that were in a bigger city. In our price range, they weren't the safest areas. And of course we couldn't afford to buy like a home in a city in a nice area. So it was like, we'll just go like small town country. And I think that's fine. And I'm going to say something. I know everyone knows it's true, but I think it needs to be said. A lot of these lifestyles that you see where they move out to a big city on their own and they're living alone, these people are very well off financially. And that's fine. Great for them. Not attainable for me. Not attainable for most people in their early 20s. So I guess to like wrap up, to like land the plane here, what I'm trying to say is that it's okay to not move to a big city. It's okay not to move out alone. It's okay to just do what you want to do and do what like makes sense for your life. Let's build a clothing rack. I didn't film at all getting stuff out of the other bedroom I have because I was just on a mission. I wanted to get in, get out, start building stuff if I could, because I knew this was going to be a process. I know I haven't given you guys a tour yet, but we are currently in like the upstairs loft area. This is probably where I'm going to have to keep a lot of my clothes and stuff. The closet in the bedroom, actually, I'll just show you. It's a pretty small closet. And this is just Connor's clothes in here. So I will not really have a lot of space to like hang my clothes in here. We did buy a dresser and I've already assembled that, but that's also getting filled up. So when I was doing research on small towns and why people did or didn't like living in them, opinions are literally all over the place. And I think that's because, well, I mean, first, opinions and preferences exist, but maybe more importantly, second, small towns come in all shapes and sizes and flavors, at least in America. You can have a small town consisting of 10 people 4 hours away from a supermarket. You can have a small town right outside of a big city. You can have a small town where everyone's weirdly culty or racist, or where there's an alarmingly high amount of violent crime. There's small towns where the worst thing that happened was some teens vandalizing someone's car 5 years ago. You can have small towns with nosy people. You can have small towns where everyone minds their own business. Instead of asking why do or don't people enjoy living in small towns, I think a more interesting question is what makes a good small town? I found an article in the Atlanta magazine by Kevin Benefield, and it's on the topic of small town charm. He writes, while it's tough to reach consensus on the question of size, there's far less disagreement on the subject of small town spirit. Whether a community's population tops out around 650 or swells to almost 19,000, the standouts tend to share a handful of qualities: an embrace of local traditions, a commitment to maintaining long-standing structures and landmarks, and a genuine affection for local characters. It's these charms, along with a slower pace and a welcoming air, that draw visitors to the storied small towns of the South. I don't have a ton of space to like put stuff, so I'm sure I'll keep like some of stuff in boxes. Like, I guess I'll start by making piles. I'll do one pile that's things I don't really wear that often. Another pile of things I do wear often, but it's off season. So like winter scarves and stuff that I wear all the time. And then another pile of things that I do want out and I want to be able to access. I also found a Reddit thread where people were talking about their experiences living in small towns. I really liked Katie Does Mug's contribution. I live in a smallish town, 20k people, and I love it. It's peaceful, quiet, there's virtually no traffic, and people are friendly. I hated living in the city, though I love the convenience and amenities. It was just very overstimulating for me. I have ADHD, and I dislike dealing with crowds everywhere I went, waiting forever for a table in a restaurant, traffic and noise constantly, higher grocery prices, what seemed like never-ending construction.
and a feeling of isolation in spite of being surrounded by people. I also just enjoy small town culture. I'm not talking about politics, but priorities and the way we interact. In my town, supporting local kids and their activities is prioritized, and as a mom, I love it. You see fast food joints putting "Go Team" type messages on their signs, and it often makes the news when a kid wins an award or signs with a college. Other perks: there are fun community events that happen a few times a year. A fair, Christmas festival, parades, fireworks at the lake, etc. that everyone attends. My kids take our dogs out walking around the neighborhood, and I don't worry about them being in any danger. My husband is a cop and deals with the issue other commenters have mentioned on the daily, but violent crime is very low, and as long as you do your research, it's pretty easy to avoid having pets for neighbors. I've lived here for over 15 years now, and I know a lot of people. I participate in a community theater. There's a lot of interesting history. Amazon doesn't have 1-hour delivery here, but we do have 1 to 2 day delivery. There are delicious local restaurants that are family owned and easy to get to. There's an expectation here that when someone is in need, we band together and help them. I'm sure there are exceptions, but mostly I feel like my neighbors have my back. Fair warning, I've lived in a town of 2,000 as well, and while I loved it too, I'd have loved it less if I hadn't been so close to a city I could go to when I needed civilization. It only had a tiny grocery store, 2 restaurants, and 2 gas stations, and that was too small for me, even though I'm a small town person. Ask yourself, how small is too small? Do your research and then go for it. I am literally 1 week out. Next Saturday, I am getting married and moving. I don't really have any wedding stuff that needs to get done today. Most of the stuff needs to wait until next week, like my flower delivery, buying the food to like make appetizers. So today will be a good day to work on moving. I'm practicing my wedding makeup. My brows look a little dark, but I think it's okay. I'm more practicing like the skin. You can already see my smile lines. To figure out how to fix that. I'm going to start in here. This is the bathroom. The plan is to pack up anything I don't absolutely need this week. Like, what can I live without for a week? I don't want this to take all day. It doesn't have to, so I am going to be setting timers for the bathroom. 10 minutes. I read some other articles and Reddit comments, and these are what I think are qualities of a good small town. Local traditions, there's an effort to maintain the town's history, an affection for local characters, slower pace, local events that are fun for everyone, safe and very little violent crime, family or locally owned stores and restaurants, a sense of community, and people are more friendly than not. And this is mine. I'm going to add a third space that's easy to access. I'm recording this voiceover after I moved in, and I think it's safe to say that my town has most, if not all of these qualities. It doesn't have that cute small town look. It's no Starts Hollow. The coffee shop here is very bad. I have to drive if I want to get to any sort of shopping. There's not a ton of people in their early mid-20s here, but it still does have a lot of the good small town qualities. This summer there was a free concert in the park. The park is the town's third space. Whenever I walk there, there's always people walking their dogs or running or playing sports with friends. The other gathering place, the watering hole, is the coffee shop. There's a lot of regulars there. But anyways, this summer there was a concert and the band was amazing. Apparently everyone here has golf carts. I lived in the country, so I'm used to four-wheelers, but not golf carts. Anyways, it was a huge event and Connor and I are walking to the park and we are getting passed by a fleet of golf carts. And they drove through the event in the park. There were like vendors and food trucks up a hill and parked on the top and down the sides to get a good view of the stage. We still laugh about it because this obviously happens every single time there's a concert. We recognized some people, got some food. It was fun to see everyone show up. So do you remember the video of the bathroom I showed you last time? Yeah, it looks completely different now and there is no toilet, which is why my desk is still here. The toilet should be put in any day now. So as soon as it's in, I'm gonna move my desk and stuff over, but for now, it'll stay here. It's Monday the 23rd. So something I would really love to have done by the time I move in is to have the living room floors done. Not even the dining room or the kitchen, just living room, because I really want to be able to move my couches in here. I think I mostly have the week off of work. If I do have anything, it's gonna be, not a big project. So I will be spending all of today. It's already 1. I'll be spending the rest of the day trying to get these floors done. I was here yesterday and I was able to get 3 rows done. The hardest part is just figuring out how to get a straight line going because this is an old house. It's like from the 1880s, I think. So the walls are pretty warped. So just trying to figure out, like all the walls are warped, so trying to figure out how to like make a straight line and to hopefully have this continue into
the kitchen area, and the floors are going in like fairly easily. It's taken me like maybe an hour to do like a row and a half. I'm trying to avoid any possible bruising before the wedding on Saturday. I have on like my thick denim. I got my knee pads. I have gloves. Since I have you here, I might as well show you the bathroom. Here it is. We got a floor. We have a toilet, and we have a vanity. But yeah, now that there's a working toilet, I can finally move my office into here. That's not a today thing though. Speaking of my office though, let me show you that. Here she is. She has kind of became the storage and plant room. I am gonna have to try to figure out how to organize and just move stuff out of the way enough for me to get my desk in here, because a lot of the stuff in here is for the bathroom. So like it wouldn't make a ton of sense for me to like just move that out into like the living room area. There's just literally so much going on. No matter like where you put anything, it's always going to be in someone's way with a project. Yeah, so that's really all I was able to get done yesterday because I ran out of the boxes of flooring. The others that we had were broken, so we had to return them. And we had to order in more. Unfortunately, I will not be able to finish the floors by the time I move in, but that's okay. Today, I am going to work on the office. It is so dusty in here, so I think what I'm going to do first is just move absolutely everything out. Do a deep clean, vacuum, mop, dust, everything. Like I need to like mop the walls down in here and then figure out where everything can go, or just like move it back in here in an organized way.
Small town charm was one of the reasons I chose this town, but also our house has character. I believe it was a farmhouse, and it's old. When we were tearing out the cabinets, we found a recipe card. It was very simple, looked very aged, and reminded me of one of those like Great Depression recipes. And the house existed well before the Great Depression, so it actually could have been from that time. I love that this house has history, but I'm really happy it's not a historical house. I toured some historical homes, but historical properties in our budget meant they all needed to be fixed in some way. And permits can be really tricky with historical homes, so we just stayed away from those. Some small towns have a lot of older houses with character. So do cities, and you can find some in the country, but not suburbs, not usually. A lot of the suburbs here are the new builds, and they're built cheaply, priced way out of our budget. Personally, I am not a fan of them. I tour homes for fun, so does my dad. So a few years ago, we went together to look at some of the new builds in the area. We went to one. I'm gonna paint you a picture, and I want you to guess what the price was. The color scheme was horrendous. Everything was black and gray. It almost looked like this, but without that gray pattern. Downstairs had that flooring, but upstairs was the only place with a different color, a brown carpet. And none of the windows had trim. Some of the doors and doorways had trim, but not all. And in case you don't know, this is what window trim looks like, and this is what a window without trim looks like. It was a decently sized house. 3, maybe 4 bed and like 2.5 bath. And remember, this is in Indiana. The location was meh. Like it was right off a major road, so it wouldn't take long to get to a grocery store or downtown or something. So that's a plus. But the suburb was brand new, so no trees, no grass, all dirt. It was the first house in the suburb, so everyone was going to be passing their house, a lot of traffic. And the main road is one of the busiest in the area, and it's loud. The only thing you'd be overlooking was the road and the gas station that was like right next to the house. It was priced at $500,000. $500,000, and I think that's what it sold for. Like if you want an industrial home and have $500,000 to spend, you could do some really cool stuff. I don't know, you could like build a house with all concrete floors or something. I feel like I'm trying to get into a ranty territory about new builds, so I'm just gonna wrap this part up. If you're looking to buy, small towns often have houses with character and with prices that are lower than the average. And the same can go for renting, especially if you have a family and want to rent a home with a backyard. Small towns definitely have their downsides, and I really can't offer solutions for some of them. For example, there's towns in the US that are in what's called medical deserts. These are areas where it would take a while to get to a hospital or a trauma center. Think like over an hour. But when people say you shouldn't live in a small town, they're not talking about those reasons. Instead, they're usually talking about the social or entertainment aspects. Limitations breed creativity and innovation. I think if you don't have easy access to something, it doesn't mean you can't have it. Well, sometimes it does, but it can also mean that you have to put in effort or pave the way.
So I don't have a vanity or like a dedicated place doing my makeup. I was doing it over in the dark corner, and that's where I had the full-length mirror. Couldn't see anything doing that. I would have to turn on my phone flashlight to do my makeup. It wasn't working out very well. But I moved the mirror over here, and this is really well lit. I have a window here, I have a window over there. So I think this is gonna be my temporary vanity area.
One thing I see on social media is if you stay in a small town, you'll stay closed-minded. When people say this, there's a lot of ideas that are being implied, but I'll just focus on two. One, moving to a big city is the only way you're going to be open-minded. And two, people from small towns are closed-minded, which will make you closed-minded. You can probably see the problem with this. It's saying that the ability to be closed-minded isn't determined by the individual. It's solely based on the people that they talk to, who they interact with. It's confusing exposure with openness. Just because you meet more diverse people doesn't mean you're willing to consider their perspectives. If you happen to live in an isolated town in like the 1800s, your worldview might have been limited simply because you lacked access to different perspectives. But a limit to different perspectives doesn't mean you won't have the ability to be curious. You won't be or stay small-minded if you live in a small town, because that is not determined by your location or the people you're around. It's all up to you. Moving on to the closet, Connor was able to move all of his clothes to this side, which is amazing because a lot of my clothes are just kind of scattered throughout the upstairs area. This closet is where a lot of my clothes are being held. The clothes I'm wearing in like the warmer months are out currently, and all the stuff for the colder months are in boxes down here. And then of course we have the clothing rack, which is holding, I guess you would say the longer stuff, like my dress pants, some longer coats are up here, and just like random stuff, I don't know. So I think the goal is move all the stuff that's hanging into the closet, but I still want to be using this clothing rack because I do think it's useful. So I might use this for accessories, like you see the bags, the belts. This might be a good use for that, as well as anything that's a lot longer, because I'm sure you could tell the closet's really short. Now, having to only interact with closed-minded people would be exhausting, and I'm sure there are small towns where not one person would be willing to accept someone who's different or has different beliefs into their community. But that's not all small towns, and that's getting less common as small towns continue to get more diverse. Again, small towns come in all shapes and sizes. You can find small towns that are very diverse. If you are thinking about moving to a small town and this is something you're worried about, something you might want to look into are churches in the town with a lot of members, relative to the area, that have community events that are open to non-members, or they're helping the town in some way, like running a food pantry or a soup kitchen. If the church's mission is to help the community, regardless of who they are or their beliefs, the members are likely going to share that mission and be kind and respectful to people who have different beliefs. Another thing I see all the time is people complaining about the lack of diverse restaurants in their small town. Now, I know you can't recreate a restaurant environment, but you can learn to make foods yourself. You might have limited access to produce, but you can choose recipes that have common perishable items and order spices or whatever else you need on Amazon. You can be creative, you can make it fun, learn something new. Kind of in that same category is the lack of entertainment. I know what it's like to have nothing to do. And if your hobbies include only going to bars, clubs, trying new restaurants, small town life, it's just not going to be for you. But small towns usually have easy access to nature. There's probably a trail or a park somewhere nearby. Also, like I mentioned before, good small towns will have community events. And some of the larger small towns will have things like breweries or shopping or more restaurants. You just have to be creative and take advantage of what's available to you. The last problem with small towns that I'll talk about is one that I haven't found a good solution to. Unless you live in a college town, there's not going to be a lot of people in their 20s. I haven't met many 20-somethings since living here, and the ones I did meet, we don't really have many similar interests. Now, I'm introverted and not super talkative. There's those girls who will go into a bathroom at a restaurant and come out and they made friends with the girl fixing her makeup at the sink. I am not that person. So the lack of friends my age can 100% be my fault. Regardless, there aren't a lot of 20-somethings here. They exist, I'm sure. I just can't find them. Something I hear all the time is get plugged in with the church. I prefer traditional services over contemporary ones, and at the church service I go to, I'm not sure if there's anyone under 40. There are younger people at the contemporary service, but those are mostly families with kids. I honestly think it will just take more effort on my end. I might try to find some Facebook groups, get on Bumble BFF, maybe be a regular at the coffee shop I don't like. It's unfortunate there aren't more ways to get plugged in, but just because it's more difficult doesn't mean it's not possible. It's starting to get to the point where like I can't find things in the cabinets. We really have one pantry. It is about a foot wide and it's almost 2 feet deep. So I really have to like reach behind things to try to find stuff. Things get buried. The spices, I couldn't find some of the stuff I needed today. Up first, because this is what I'm really excited about, I'm gonna be organizing my spices. So the 5 ounce, that's gonna be mostly for whole spices. I did not like the labels that came with these. And at the end of the day, I want something that's super functional. That's the idea behind like everything in the house, that everything's very functional and is very like personalized to what we need. And I know that I'll be running out of spices because spices don't stay good forever. So the plan is to use it up and then wash the jars, store the jars until I need to use them again. And I may be using it for like a different spice. So I wanted something I could, remove the label on and make a new label. I got this cute little label maker. It's super simple. I like the aesthetic of having, the black label with the white letters. I'm really buying like all of the spices I need for the first time. I've bought spices before, but like, my parents would have like almost all of them but one. And spices I noticed then were expensive. It would add up really, really fast. So what I did is I went to my local food co-op and they have spices in bulk that you can kind of pour out yourself into little bags. So for all of the spices that were in the little clear bags, the total came out to $29. Oh wait, no, I got a latte. Okay, it would have came out to like $23 and $5 of that was like the whole nutmegs that I bought. But most of the stuff on this came out to anywhere between 60 cents and like $1.30. This cabinet, I want to be the spice and tea cabinet. I bought this bamboo spice organizer. I really like it. As you can see right now, I just have all of the spices stacked up on top of each other, like 3 rows, which is not usable at all. Okay, I'll handle the tea in just a moment, but first, we need to handle the Tupperware situation. I have a lot of containers and lids for all my meal prep stuff, and the way I have it organized right now is just not working. I would love to move all of the Tupperware into this cabinet, and Connor just put these handles on last night. I love them, but this is just full of random stuff. So first, before I do any organizing, I've got to clean this out. So there's an obvious problem with this cabinet, and that's that there's no shelves. It's just a large open box. I didn't want to try to figure out how to put shelves in. 1, I'm lazy, and 2, I don't know if I'm going to keep Tupperware here. We'll have to see how I like it. So what I did is I bought these containers. They're stackable. The idea is that I'll be able to organize the Tupperware in here, and I'll just be able to pull out the bin that I need when I'm food prepping. Now I want to finish up the spice and tea cabinet. This is our tea drawer currently. This isn't gonna work. Everything's literally buried. I can barely reach it. I think what I'm gonna try is moving over to this corner cabinet. So I have this little basket. I used this to hold the utensils at my wedding. So this might be kind of a way to organize it. I really hate that I didn't think this through more. Next, I'm going to deal with all of the cooking and baking utensils. I have all of the cooking and baking stuff in this drawer, which is away from the stove, or in this utensil holder, which is also away from the stove. Ideally, I don't want them on the counters, and I'd like them to be next to the stove. So I'm going to move it to where the tea used to be. Okay, so we have a problem. There is just too much stuff. Like, It's overflowing into this drawer. I can't get anything to fit. So whatever I don't need, I am going to be putting in this tub, and it's going in the basement. Just like extras of stuff. We got a lot of duplicates from like the wedding and the bridal shower. Like we have way more knives than we need. Way more like spatulas. I don't know, just like random stuff like that, which is amazing because at some point they'll come in handy, but for right now, I might as well just store them in the basement. Connor and I knew we'd probably have to do some renovations since we were looking at older homes. Renovations that either needed to be done or ones we just wanted to be done. And in order to have any money left over to do that, small towns were the way to go. We're fixing the house over time, but thankfully the major messy things are done. This would not have been possible if we bought a house in the city. Obviously, that would have been much more expensive. And surprisingly, houses in the country are more expensive. But I guess it makes sense because there's a large farming community here, so most of the houses in the country are being sold with land. Small town homes made the most sense for us financially. A lot of our time, well, a lot of Connor's time now, is spent on home projects. I'm the style department. So I spend a lot of time getting myself organized, cleaned up, decorating, furnishing, starting to take a lot of temporary setups and make it into something more permanent. Like, for example, my office being the temporary storage space. It still is, but I'm figuring out where stuff is going permanently. A lot of our time is being spent on the house, which is fine because there's not a ton to do here anyways, at least not without driving. After the house is done, maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, we could definitely get bored. But the small town is growing and people are moving here. Since I moved in, a family-owned mom and pop shop opened walking distance from my house. There's not a crazy amount of growth here, but it is growing. And I think that's another quality of a good small town. With that growth and more people moving here, more money is being brought into the town, and that money is being put towards improving the park and having more events. As soon as I figured out what Zillow was, I was on it. And it looked like maybe this small town wouldn't be so small in a decade or two. Since purchasing this house, its value has already gone up a little, not much, but a little, and that's before taking into account any of our renovations. The changes we made are for us, they aren't for resale, but they do increase the value of the home. Growth in a small town is great. There's a lot of new stores, new restaurants, new events, new people, new communities. Not nearly at the same rate as a big city, but it's there. I don't think I would be as happy in a town that was super stagnant, but to each their own. There's a lot of small towns, and I think if you're interested in moving to one, you would find one that works for you. To quote Katie Does Mugs again, ask yourself how small is too small, do your research, and go for it. Hello, it is October 1st. It's crazy how much time has passed. This house is going to be a project for as long as I'm here, I think. But for the sake of this video, I want to do some final touches to kind of wrap things up and make it a little bit more homey. So I went thrifting. The first thing I got is this stool. I want a vanity. It's kind of ugly, but I also kind of like it. It's very comfortable and it's better than anything I was finding online to buy. I didn't want to spend over $50 on a stool, and the options on Amazon were sad. I'm very happy with this. I also bought a candlestick holder. Oh, I went thrifting another time and actually got a candlestick. This was $1. I forgot about this. And of course, this doesn't fit. I'll figure it out. But I am looking to get a lot of brass candlestick holders. They're expensive, even at the thrift stores. I've really been wanting like mugs for espresso. We did a housewarming party and it was cafe themed. We have an espresso machine. It was a lot of fun, but the one thing I wish we had were smaller mugs. It wasn't a big deal. We really like big mugs because we drink a lot of coffee and tea. But for the people who just wanted like a little espresso, I only had one teacup. So I got these. These were 99 cents each, and I was able to buy the full set, which was 6. I don't like breaking up sets, so if I can't buy the whole thing, I really think about it before I buy it. And I'm pretty sure these are from like a Chinese restaurant because they had a lot of other like Chinese restaurant dishes there. They're cute, they're green, so that goes with our kitchen. I love the look of these, but also these things are not gonna break. These have been through it. They're also bigger than the average like little espresso shot mugs. So this is nice for like a mini latte or something. I also found this vase. This vase was $3. I've been looking for a vase. People have been getting us flowers, which is super nice, but I just never have like a place to put them. So I've been like cutting them down super short and putting them in mini mason jars. Oh, I also thrifted some stuff another time that I completely forgot to talk about. Okay, so the bookshelf is completely done and I wanted to get some books for it. So I love the look of these vintage softcover books. They're really small, they're cute. I like them. I like holding them. I like reading them. I got Cat's Cradle. I got all of these from Half Price Books by the way. So these were all like $3-4. I got 2 Agatha Christie books because I love Nancy Drew growing up, and I feel like Agatha Christie is kind of like the adult version of that. I did read some Agatha Christie in school, hated it. However, I hated every single book I read in school, and if I read it before I had to read it for school, I really liked it. I also got Paradise Lost. I don't know, honestly, if I'll be able to make it through it, but I'd like to try. And then I also got Essential Tales and Poems, and it's Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like this will look like really nice on the shelf. And then I got a vinyl. When I found this, I looked it up on Spotify, really liked it, thought it'd be interesting to listen to it, you know, fully through. I do like doing that with classical music and like orchestras and like symphonies and stuff. I think that's a fun way to experience it, is listening whole album, you know, start to finish, not just one song. And we want to have a record section on the bookshelf, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I have a lot of stuff to set up this week. A lot of stuff came in the mail. Target actually got me a replacement like really fast, so let's hope this one's right. Okay, so this is the state of the bed. If you remember from the last video before I moved, when I was like doing my bed, you would know that I got 2 king duvets. And it was really nice because I have a king bed. However, the only duvet cover I have is a queen, which doesn't really work for the bed. So we've just been sleeping with the duvets themselves. And you can see like the one stripe pillow, we have a white pillow back there. The tan ones are all the same color but different materials. Oh, another thing, I did get new sheets. I love flannel sheets so much, but it's a little too hot right now to put them on. I got white flannel. It feels amazing. It is 100% cotton, and I know not all cotton is created equal, but I'm really hoping this lasts. The problem with the sheets right now, we got the mattress a few months before I moved in, so Connor bought sheets on Amazon. They're already pilling. I'm just ready to upgrade. So this is 100% cotton, not going on quite yet. We're going to keep the sheets that we have until it cools down a little bit. But yeah, as I was saying, with, you know, the sheets being 100% cotton, the ones that are on the bed right now, this duvet is also 100% cotton. I'm trying to do more, you know, natural materials just because I like how they feel. And I'm really happy. The duvet cover actually feels really nice, and I wasn't really expecting that. Something else that feels really nice are these pillowcases that I got. These are 100% French linen, I believe. They feel amazing. I would love to have like all linen bedding, but like before I commit to that, I thought I might as well just try out linen. But just from feeling this, like it's so heavy and it feels so nice. And as you can tell, these colors are very autumnal. I'm not huge on like switching out bedding for, you know, the seasons, but if I wanted to, the gingham print is so light that it would go with a lot of other colors. It's not like a dark mocha brown. So it would go really well for like spring and summer if I switched out the pillowcases to do like a dusty rose or something fun like that. What I'm missing is 2 more king pillows for the matching pillowcases. So just imagine. I love how this is coming together. I actually really like the rug. I wasn't sure if I would. It was about the best rug I could find. What's really great is this is an indoor-outdoor rug. So it's really durable. It's going to be super easy to clean because it doesn't really have that high of a fluffiness, whatever that's called. It's stain resistant, and it is machine washable. I have to admit, it doesn't feel the coziest, but I am getting a rug pad for under it that should make it a little bit more cushy. The table is from World Market, and I love the little like spikes that you put through the holes. And it's not just for decoration, like it actually does help it stay together, which is really cool. I think both of these are going to end up being keeps. You have no idea how happy I was when Connor told me that the shelves were finished. I could put my books up. I looked into how to put books up on a bookshelf in a way that looks good, and I found out people style their bookshelves in a lot of different ways. My favorite is when the majority of the stuff on the shelves are books, not vases, not pictures, not all these other trinkets, which are cute, but I want the bookshelf to actually hold books. So I want to stuff it full of books. That's great. That's not Connor's style. And since, of course, this is a shared space and it's right when you walk through the door, it would be nice if it looked like neat and tidy. So I saw people say to sort books by height, or you can do it like by publisher too. That way you don't have a ton of different heights right next to each other. I really like the look of this. And of course, I'll show you what the shelves look like when they're done. I did not have books to put on the middle shelves. I don't really know what to put here. I was thinking like those really old dictionaries, but I wouldn't read them. And I don't really like to have books if I haven't read them or don't plan on reading them. But the middle shelf will definitely be full of books. I do have more books, mostly my gigantic Nancy Drew collection. But I don't really want to put those up on the shelf just because it would be so much yellow. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to read them again. Definitely not getting rid of them. I just think they could probably stay in storage, and I think that would be okay. But there's so much space left on this bookshelf. I'm really trying to make myself not buy books. And I was thinking about this the other night, like how many books is too many books? And I don't really think there is a number, but I definitely don't want to have a lot of unread books. So right now I have 244 books, and I think I'm going to let myself go out and buy more books when I have the unread books down to 5%. That will be my goal, to keep unread books at 5%. 5% of 244 is about 12 books. I went through, I counted, right now I have 25 unread books. That's not a ton, but it is like, oh wow, yeah, I should probably not buy any more books and just read what I have. So how this is organized is kind of by height and topic. So one shelf I have small vintage softcover books. Another one I have childhood favorites. I have a shelf for poetry, prose, and Christianity related. I have a shelf dedicated to books that I'm reading right now. I kind of have a general fiction shelf, and at the top I have large nonfiction books just because I think it looks a lot better to have the big books up there. And then on the bottom I have a photo album and a cookbook, and inside one of the cabinets I have DVDs, hardware for the table, and a lot of like incense and candles and stuff, anything that we use for hosting because the kitchen is stuffed. So anything else we need for hosting can go down here too. So I've been waiting to do a house tour for a while, and that's because it's been taking a while to decorate, and also the renovations and the house projects have been taking a while. And because there's constantly like some sort of project going on, it means there's constantly messes, which is fine, but I can't get everything as clean as I would like it to be to do like a video. But this is like a realistic what the house looks like as of now and probably for the next year or so. But I didn't want to be filming this video for like another year. I wanted it to end, and it finally feels like home, which is really nice. It doesn't feel like I'm living in the previous owner's home or in a construction zone anymore. Anyways, I want to show you the bedroom. I really love how the bed turned out. It's very cozy. I was really in love with the piglet in a bed berry gingham print, but I just couldn't justify spending that much. But I think on a budget, this was done pretty well. I'll try to link what I can below, but I really do love these linen pillowcases. They feel very nice. I like the color. I've washed them a lot and they seem to be holding up pretty well. I would love to get like the whole bed linen eventually, but I think just slowly buying things, and I like how it is now. Buying more bedding is not on the priority list right now, okay? But eventually all linen bedding, sounds very nice. If you've watched my channel, you've seen this before, but this little dish, I love this. This is a little trinket catch-all dish. I got this at a farmer's market. It was probably handmade because there's, you know, initials on the bottom. Oops. But I don't know for sure because it was $5, which seemed like a deal that was too good to be true, but maybe they were just trying to get rid of it. I don't know. So every room is a work in progress still. So I wanted to share a few things I'm excited to work on or change. I'm really excited to get a bed frame, but along with a bed frame, I would love to get a side table. I cleaned up, but I usually have a collection of things on the side of my bed on the floor. Books, water bottles, jewelry I forgot to take off. Everything just kind of gets thrown on the floor. And also, I would really love to put sweet potato up on a table. Sweet potato is my hatch alarm clock. I named it that because I always have it on the sweet potato light. And it's like a cute name. I did try to name it Pancake. That didn't stick. Oh, and also doors. Really excited to get doors. Unfortunately, the doors are not standard size. So my husband is trying to figure out how to get doors the right size and how he's going to do that himself. So far, it seems to be working. There is one door done, but it is a process and I'm very excited to have them. I ended up putting my vanity out in the room that I didn't know what to do with. I feel so annoying saying that, like, oh, I needed a place to like get ready and do my makeup. But where I had it before on the floor, it was just not working. It didn't work for doing hair. My stuff was constantly all over the floor. Like I was stepping on it because I don't know, like you get ready and then you run out and everything stays where you put it, which is typically not back in a drawer or a basket or in the little, you know, makeup organizer. It's just how I am. And the lighting was awful. Now, it was much better from where I originally was doing my makeup. However, it was still very hard to see what I was doing. I really love how this turned out. I love the stool. The stool is very comfortable. This desk, I got like $100 off on eBay. It was new. It's just kind of like one of those bulk return things or something. Anyways, it's like a cherry wood. Very pretty. I don't believe it's real wood. It has a few dents, like the corner is kind of dinged up, as well as a place on the back, but honestly, it doesn't really bother me. I am the type that likes thrifting furniture and stuff, so getting stuff with a few minor flaws, it's fine. I do have to say, I think the stool might be a little short, but I think that's a good thing because the mirror is very tall, the desk is tall, and then like the stool is kind of short. So my face hits like the middle, which is amazing for doing my hair because I use like this tool. I can extend my hair fully and not run out of space. Like I'm nowhere near running out of space. It's nice to have like a vanity with a lot of space like this, a lot of room to work with, and I like that. There are some things I'm excited to change. The first is the lighting. The lighting is non-existent, unfortunately. So I'm trying to figure out how to even do that. I was thinking maybe sconces on both sides of the mirror, but also the desk is big enough. I think I could put a lamp up here with like no issue. I'm kind of tying along with that, just decorating this in general. I'm very excited to do that. I have a lot of ideas, but that is a future project, maybe like a winter project. The place I used to do my hair was the bathroom, and I will show you that now. All the lights are dimmable, which is amazing. The mirror looks great. I love all in navy. I don't really know if you're going to be able to tell on camera. Unfortunately, my camera is really bad at picking up colors accurately, but the colors in the bathroom are navy, white, and gold. We added this shelf. The bathroom is very small, so we didn't want anything to really stick out on the wall. So we had shelves going into the wall, and it worked out very nicely. It holds washcloths and just other things we use on a daily basis. Something I'm really excited to work on is the organization in the bathroom. We're definitely making use of what we have. Every drawer, every cabinet is like stuffed to the brim. Another thing I want to work on, when we moved in, there were all of these hard water stains all over the glass in the shower. I can't get it off. I don't know how to. I feel like I've tried everything, but I'm sure I haven't. I'm sure there's a way, but it's going to be like a process. I absolutely love this kitchen so much. Possibly my favorite room in the house. It is tied with the living room though, and we will get to that later. I love the color combo, the green with like the honey colored butcher block counters. It's such a very nice, warm, very at-home feeling. It's definitely not sterile at all. And this green color, and you'll see, is something we take throughout other rooms in the house to kind of tie everything together, and I really like that. And I really like how the house turned out like as a whole. A few of my favorite things in the kitchen is, again, another little trinket
holder. I made this one. Outside is lavender, inside is orange with what are supposed to be strawberries. And I use this for holding rings when I'm doing dishes. The sink is literally right here. I can't stand like washing my hands with rings on and stuff. So this has been a lifesaver. If you watched my other bedroom makeover, you probably would remember this painting. This is from my old art teacher. My mom bought it and I stole it. I actually asked, I'm like, are you using this? Because it wasn't up anywhere, and she was like, no, you can have it. Like, perfect. And I think it goes really, really well in the kitchen. Organization wise, how I organized things originally mostly stuck. However, I do definitely want to work on the organization. Like I said, everything is just stuffed to the brims, which does make things really annoying, especially for the tea cabinet. I'm getting a tea shipment in pretty soon. Don't know where I'm gonna put it. And this drawer down here with like the Tupperware and mixing bowls and stuff, that just, I do just kind of like throw things in really fast and close the door and just hope nothing falls. The mini pantry has been amazing. Those little pull-out drawers, lifesaver. It makes the space so much more usable, and we're able to keep it somewhat organized. Again, everything's kind of stuffed to the brim, but we were actually able to get all dry goods in the pantry, which is great. We don't have to use the other drawers to hold food.
Out of all of the rooms in the house, I think my office is definitely the one that's the most work in progress. It's kind of become a holding room for everything we want to be able to access, but don't have closet space for, as well as just all of my other stuff. So I ended up moving my desk to be in front of this window. I like this a lot more. I do like it for filming purposes, but then also I like having light over where I had it before. It was just a little bit too dark. I love the whiteboard. I love the whiteboard so much. I use it all the time. I'm prepping for a video. That's why I have like everything erased and then covered, but I use that every single day for work and for personal projects. It's amazing. This has also become the plant room. The plants tend to get in the way of any sort of project, so I've just been trying to keep them in here. Unfortunately, I don't get enough light, so some of them have died. There's a lot I want to change in this room. I definitely need different curtains or blinds or something. The one in front of my desk is completely broken. And then in front of the other window, it is just pieces of plastic taped up with painter's tape. I actually think it diffuses the light very nicely though, so I don't hate it. I'd also love to be able to get it to sound not so echoey in here, because it does make it really hard to like edit the audio and make it sound somewhat decent. And I don't know, just getting stuff up on the walls, making it feel a little bit more me and personal. And then, oh, also the organization. Yeah, that's gonna need some work. I do want to work on the office sometime soon, so expect a video, like an office makeover video, but okay, I say that, but watch it be like a full 12 months. Something I love is this room gets the warmest in the house. We have boiler heat, and there's a lot of heaters in here. It gets very warm. It's very nice. It's significantly warmer than all the other rooms in the house. The living room is possibly tied with the kitchen being my favorite room in the house. Something I do want to work on in here is the lighting. It is kind of dark, even though there are a lot of windows. I did get a new lamp. Absolutely loved it. I love the designer one that I found, or the more expensive one I found, but couldn't justify the price. So found this one in Walmart. Love it. It's like diffused on the bottom, so it's really great for reading under. I did get the curtains up, finally. I don't really know if I like them, if I'm being honest. Something I would like to change out are these pillows. The blue just doesn't really go. But yeah, that's the house. And that's all I've got. Bye.